Hello and welcome. Tonight, we will begin with something so familiar that it often goes unnoticed. Certainty. It is woven quietly into almost every part of daily life. You set an alarm because you expect tomorrow morning to arrive. You place a book on a table and assume it will still be there later. You make plans for next week, next month, or even next year because somewhere deep inside, you trust that the world will continue to behave much as it did yesterday. Most of the time, that trust serves us well. The sun rises, seasons change, water boils when heated. The familiar streets of your neighborhood remain where they have always been. Life appears to move along patterns that feel stable and dependable. Perhaps that is why uncertainty can feel so unsettling. The human mind is remarkably skilled at finding patterns. Long before cities, science, or written language, our ancestors survived by recognizing regularities in the world around them. They learned when certain animals migrated. They noticed which plants were safe to eat. They observed the changing sky and learned to anticipate the arrival of winter. Pattern recognition became one of humanity's greatest strengths. Yet there is a subtle consequence hidden within that strength. When we become accustomed to patterns, we begin to expect them. And when we expect them, we often forget that reality is under no obligation to continue following the script we have written for it. Imagine standing beside a calm river. For hours, the water flows peacefully in the same direction. The movement becomes predictable, familiar, comfortable. Then, without warning, a storm arrives far upstream. Hours later, the river suddenly swells and changes course. From your perspective, the change seems abrupt and surprising. Yet the conditions that produced it had been developing beyond your view all along. Life often behaves in much the same way. Many of history's most significant events seemed impossible before they happened, and obvious afterward. Entire civilizations have risen and fallen. Scientific discoveries have transformed the way humanity understands reality. Unexpected encounters have altered individual lives forever. A chance conversation, a book found at the right moment, an opportunity that appeared without warning, a crisis that eventually became a turning point. Looking backward, people naturally construct explanations. The story begins to feel logical, predictable even. But before those events occurred, very few people saw them coming. This observation became the foundation of an idea known as the Black Swan Theory, developed by the philosopher and statistician Nassim Nicholas Taleb. The name comes from an old belief that all swans were white. For centuries, people observed only white swans and concluded that white swans were the only kind that existed. Then explorers reached Australia and discovered black swans. A single observation overturned a certainty that had lasted generations. The lesson extends far beyond birds. Sometimes we build our understanding of reality from limited experience and quietly assume that what we have seen represents the whole picture. Then something unexpected appears, and suddenly the picture changes. The remarkable thing is that the human mind often responds by immediately creating a story to explain what happened. We are natural storytellers. In many ways, this is a beautiful quality. Stories help us make sense of our experiences. They connect events into meaningful patterns. They transform confusion into understanding. Yet stories can also create the illusion that the world is more predictable than it truly is. A surprising event occurs. Then we explain it. Then we begin to believe we could have predicted it all along. But prediction and explanation are not the same thing. A weather forecast can tell you a storm is coming. Explaining the storm after it arrives is much easier. Life often works this way. Think about your own experiences. There may have been moments that completely changed the direction of your life. Perhaps you met someone unexpectedly. Perhaps you moved to a new place. Perhaps a challenge appeared that initially felt unwelcome, but eventually led to growth. At the time, those moments may have seemed random, yet looking back, they often become central chapters in the story we tell about ourselves. What is fascinating is that many of the most meaningful experiences in life emerge from uncertainty rather than certainty. A bold friendship begins because two people happen to meet. A discovery occurs because someone explores an unfamiliar idea. An invention appears because a problem forces a creative solution. Even scientific progress often follows this pattern. Researchers searching for one thing frequently discover something entirely different. The history of science is filled with accidents, surprises, and unexpected observations that transformed our understanding of reality. This does not mean planning is useless. It does not mean prediction has no value. Rather, it suggests that adaptability may be just as important as certainty. A tree survives a storm not because it can predict every gust of wind. It survives because it can bend. Perhaps there is wisdom in that image. Many of us spend enormous amounts of energy trying to eliminate uncertainty from our lives. We seek guarantees. We search for complete confidence. We want assurance that tomorrow will unfold exactly as we expect. Yet uncertainty continues to appear. Not because we have failed, not because we have overlooked some secret formula, but because uncertainty seems woven into the fabric of existence itself. The future remains open, the universe remains larger than our predictions, and life continues to surprise us. Strangely enough, this may not be a flaw in reality. It may be one of reality's greatest gifts. A completely predictable world would contain no genuine discovery, no surprises, no wonder, no possibility of transformation. The unexpected can bring difficulty, certainly, but it can also bring growth, creativity, and entirely new ways of seeing the world. And as we sit beneath a sky filled with distant stars, each one carrying stories that humanity has yet to fully understand, it becomes difficult to ignore a quiet possibility. Perhaps uncertainty is not standing in the way of understanding. Perhaps uncertainty is where understanding begins. For once we accept that the future cannot be known with complete certainty, another question gently emerges from the darkness. How much can we truly know about anything at all? Not long after we begin accepting uncertainty as part of life, another question naturally appears. If the future cannot be predicted perfectly, how much can we truly know about the world around us? It is a question that has followed humanity for thousands of years. You can almost imagine a child asking it for the first time. Why does the rain fall? Because of clouds. Why are there clouds? Because water rises into the sky. Why does water rise? Because of heat from the sun. And then another question appears, and another, and another. Anyone who has spent time around a curious child knows this pattern well. Every answer seems to open a door, only to reveal another hallway waiting beyond it. In many ways, the entire history of human knowledge has followed the same path. We often imagine knowledge as a journey toward a final destination, a great mountain peak where every mystery is solved and every question answered. Yet reality appears far less straightforward. The more humanity learns, the more vast the unknown begins to seem. Imagine standing on a beach at dawn. A thick fog covers the ocean. At first, you can only see a short distance ahead. Then the fog begins to lift. You might expect the visible world to become smaller as clarity increases. Instead, the opposite happens. The farther you can see, the larger the ocean appears. Knowledge often works exactly this way. Each discovery clears a little of the fog, but each clearing reveals an even greater horizon beyond. Centuries ago, many believed the universe was relatively simple. The stars moved across the sky. The earth seemed fixed beneath our feet. The world appeared understandable. Then came new discoveries. Astronomers revealed that Earth was not the center of everything. Physicists uncovered hidden laws governing motion and gravity. Microscopes exposed entire worlds too small for the eye to see. Telescopes revealed galaxies scattered across unimaginable distances. With every breakthrough, humanity's understanding grew, but so did its awareness of its own ignorance. One of the most famous examples comes from the work of Isaac Newton. Newton helped explain why planets move through space and why objects fall toward the ground. His discoveries were so successful that many people began to imagine science was approaching completion. It seemed as though nature's secrets were finally being uncovered. Then, centuries later, new observations began revealing cracks in that picture. Albert Einstein expanded humanity's understanding of space, time, and gravity. Suddenly, the universe looked stranger than anyone had imagined. Yet Einstein's work did not bring the end of questions. Instead, it created new ones. Then came quantum physics. Scientists exploring the smallest scales of reality discovered a world that behaved in ways that challenged common sense. Certainty gave way to probability. Prediction became more complicated. Reality itself appeared more mysterious than expected. Once again, a major answer generated an entirely new collection of questions. The pattern continues today. Modern science has achieved extraordinary things. Human beings have walked on the moon, mapped the human genome, built machines capable of peering billions of years into the past by observing ancient starlight. Yet, despite these achievements, some of the largest pieces of reality remain poorly understood. Consider the universe itself. Everything you can see around you, the earth, oceans, mountains, trees, animals, cities, stars, and galaxies, appears to represent only a small fraction of what exists. Scientists have discovered evidence suggesting that most of the universe is composed of forms of matter and energy, whose true nature remains unknown. This realization is both humbling and fascinating. Imagine opening a book and discovering that you can clearly read only a few pages, while most of the chapters remain hidden. That does not mean the book is meaningless. It simply means the story is larger than your current understanding. This recognition leads to an important distinction. Knowledge is not the same as certainty. In everyday conversation, people often use the two words as though they mean the same thing. But they are different. Knowledge grows through observation, evidence, testing, and revision. Certainty suggests complete confidence. Science is remarkably powerful because it does not demand absolute certainty. Instead, it continually improves its understanding while remaining open to correction. There is a quiet wisdom in this approach. To learn is not merely to collect answers. It is also to become comfortable with questions. The philosopher Socrates is often associated with a famous idea. The wisest person may be the one who recognizes how much remains unknown. At first, that idea can seem disappointing. After all, most of us would prefer a world filled with clear answers. Yet there is another way to view it. Imagine finishing a beautiful novel. If every mystery were resolved instantly, the story would end. There would be nowhere left to go. No new discoveries, no surprises, no wonder. The unknown is not simply an obstacle standing in front of knowledge. In many ways, it is the very thing that makes knowledge meaningful. Scientists continue searching because mysteries remain. Explorers continue traveling because horizons exist. Questions continue appearing because reality is larger than any single explanation. Perhaps this is why the pursuit of understanding feels so deeply human. Not because we expect to know everything one day, but because curiosity itself seems woven into our nature. We are creatures who ask questions. We look toward distant stars and wonder what lies beyond them. We examine the smallest particles and wonder what lies beneath them. And eventually, after exploring the world around us for long enough, our attention begins to turn inward. For among all the mysteries that surround us, there is one that accompanies us every moment of our lives. The mysterious awareness reading these words right now. The quiet presence behind every thought, memory, and experience. And that may be where the search for certainty becomes most personal of all. As humanity searched for knowledge, explored the heavens, and uncovered the hidden laws of nature, one question remains surprisingly difficult to answer. How can we be certain that anything we know is truly real? At first, the question may sound unusual. After all, reality feels obvious. You can see the room around you. You can hear sounds in the distance. You can feel the weight of your body resting comfortably wherever you happen to be listening tonight. The world appears solid and dependable. Yet appearances can sometimes be deceptive. Most of us have experienced a dream that felt completely real while it was happening. Perhaps you have dreamed of walking through a familiar place, speaking with someone you know, or watching an event unfold with perfect clarity. While the dream lasted, nothing seemed unusual. Only after waking did you recognize that the experience had been created entirely within your mind. This simple observation fascinated a French philosopher named René Descartes. Living in the 17th century, Descartes became interested in a bold and unsettling experiment. What if he doubted everything? Not because he believed everything was false, but because he wanted to discover whether there was anything that could survive absolute doubt. Imagine trying this for yourself. You begin with your senses. Can your eyes sometimes deceive you? Of course. A straight stick appears bent beneath water. Distant objects can seem smaller than they truly are. Shadows transform ordinary shapes into something unfamiliar. If the senses occasionally make mistakes, perhaps they cannot provide complete certainty. So you continue. What about memory? Can memory ever be wrong? Most people have experienced moments when two individuals remember the same event differently. Details shift, timelines blur, certain moments grow larger while others fade. Memory, though valuable, is not perfect. So perhaps memory cannot provide absolute certainty either. Then the questioning becomes even deeper. How do you know you are not dreaming right now? It is a strange thought. Yet while dreaming, people rarely realize they are dreaming. The experience feels real until they awaken. Descartes followed this path of doubt further and further, removing every assumption he could imagine. He doubted the senses. He doubted memory. He doubted the external world. He even considered the possibility that reality itself might be an elaborate illusion. Eventually, he arrived at a surprising discovery. No matter how much he doubted, one thing remained impossible to deny: the doubt itself. If he was doubting, then something had to exist that was performing the act of doubt. If he was questioning, then something had to exist that was doing the questioning. And so he arrived at one of the most famous ideas in the history of philosophy. I think, therefore I am. The original Latin phrase is cogito ergo sum. The statement is remarkably simple, yet its implications are profound. Descartes was not claiming that thinking creates existence. He was observing that the very act of thinking proves the existence of a thinker. Even if everything else turns out to be uncertain, awareness itself remains. There is something here, something experiencing, something observing, something capable of wondering. This realization shifts the search for certainty inward. Instead of beginning with the universe, we begin with consciousness. Before we ask what stars are made of, before we ask how galaxies form, before we ask what existed before the beginning of time, we encounter a more immediate mystery, the awareness through which every question is being asked. What makes this idea particularly fascinating is how it challenges many of the ways people define themselves. If someone asks who you are, many answers might come to mind. You might mention your profession, your accomplishments, your family, your nationality, your interests, your personal history. All of these descriptions can be meaningful, yet they share something in common. They can change. A career can change. A home can change. Relationships can change. Even personality evolves over time. The person you are today is not exactly the same person you were 10 years ago. And yet, beneath those changes, there often seems to be a continuing sense of being you, a quiet thread connecting countless experiences across a lifetime. Imagine sitting beside a river. The water flows continuously. The surface changes from moment to moment, yet we still refer to it as the same river. Human identity can feel similar. Thoughts come and go. Emotions rise and fall. Memories appear and disappear. The story changes constantly, yet awareness remains present throughout the unfolding process. This insight has inspired philosophers, psychologists, and contemplative traditions for centuries. Many have suggested that suffering often grows when we become completely absorbed in our thoughts, treating every passing idea as a permanent truth. But thoughts behave much like clouds crossing a wide sky. They arrive, they linger, they drift away. The sky remains. Perhaps self-awareness begins when we recognize this distinction, not the thought itself, but the awareness observing the thought. You may have experienced moments like this before, perhaps while sitting quietly at night, perhaps while watching rain fall against a window, perhaps during those brief moments before sleep when thoughts seem to slow and a deeper sense of observation quietly emerges. For a moment, you notice that worries are appearing. You notice memories drifting through the mind. You notice plans, fears, hopes, and questions. And somewhere within that observation, a curious realization appears. You are not simply experiencing thoughts. You are also aware of experiencing them. This may seem like a small distinction, yet it opens the door to one of the greatest mysteries humanity has ever encountered. Because once we discover the observer, another question naturally follows. What exactly is this awareness? What is consciousness itself? How can a collection of atoms, cells, and biological processes give rise to the rich inner world of experience? And why does the universe contain beings capable of asking such questions in the first place? The deeper we look into ourselves, the more surprising the journey becomes. At first, consciousness seems familiar. After all, it is the one thing you have experienced every moment of your life. You have never known a world without awareness. Every sight, every sound, every memory, every emotion has appeared within it. And yet, despite its familiarity, consciousness remains one of the greatest mysteries ever encountered by science and philosophy. For centuries, human beings have explored the outer world. They have mapped continents, crossed oceans, studied stars, and uncovered the hidden structures of matter. Many mysteries that once seemed impossible to solve have gradually yielded to observation and investigation. Yet, consciousness remains strangely elusive. The challenge is not that we lack information about the brain. Modern neuroscience has revealed extraordinary details about how the brain functions. Scientists can observe patterns of activity associated with vision, memory, language, and emotion. They can identify regions involved in recognizing faces, forming memories, and making decisions. The brain itself is one of the most studied objects in human history. And yet a profound question remains. Why does any of it feel like something? Imagine looking at a red flower. Scientists can describe what happens physically. Light reflects from the petals. That light enters the eye. Signals travel through the nervous system. Various regions of the brain become active. This explanation can become incredibly detailed. Yet even after describing every physical process, something still seems left out. The experience itself, the redness of red, the feeling of seeing, the quality of the experience from the inside. This puzzle is sometimes called the hard problem of consciousness, not because it is mathematically difficult, but because it asks a different kind of question. Instead of asking how the brain processes information, it asks why information processing is accompanied by experience at all. Why does the universe contain not only activity, but awareness of activity? No one currently knows the answer, and that uncertainty is worth pausing to appreciate. There are many mysteries in science, but consciousness is unusual because it is both the thing we are trying to explain and the thing doing the explaining. The observer and the mystery are one and the same. This creates a fascinating situation. When astronomers study distant galaxies, they stand outside the galaxies they observe. When biologists study ecosystems, they stand outside the ecosystems they analyze. But when consciousness studies consciousness, the observer turns inward. The mind attempts to understand itself. In a sense, it is like a mirror trying to reflect itself. This challenge becomes even more intriguing when we consider how the brain constructs our experience of reality. Most people naturally assume they see the world exactly as it is. The sky appears blue, grass appears green, music sounds rich and beautiful. The world feels immediate and direct. Yet neuroscience suggests something more subtle may be happening. The brain does not simply record reality like a camera. Instead, it actively interprets information. It receives signals and transforms them into a meaningful experience. Consider color. Outside your mind, there is no floating substance called blue. There are only different forms of light. Your brain interprets certain patterns of light and creates the experience you know as blue. The same is true for sound. Outside your mind, there is no music drifting through space. There are only vibrations moving through air. Your brain transforms those vibrations into melodies, voices, and symphonies. Even your sense of time may be influenced by interpretation. A pleasant afternoon can seem to disappear quickly. A few minutes spent waiting can feel surprisingly long. The clock moves steadily, yet experience stretches and compresses around it. This does not mean reality is fake. It simply suggests that our experience of reality is partly constructed by the mind. You might think of consciousness as a translator. The universe speaks in patterns of energy, matter, motion, and interaction. The mind translates those patterns into colors, sounds, emotions, and meanings. This translation is extraordinarily useful. Without it, navigating the world would be nearly impossible. Yet, it also means that there may be aspects of reality we never experience directly. After all, every creature perceives the world differently. A bat navigates through echoes. A bee detects patterns invisible to human eyes. A dog experiences a rich landscape of scent that most humans can barely imagine. Each species inhabits the same world, yet each experiences a different version of it. This raises an intriguing possibility. Human perception may not reveal reality in its entirety. It may reveal only the portion our brains evolved to notice. Just as a small window reveals part of a landscape, our senses may provide only a limited view of a much larger reality. And yet, despite those limitations, consciousness possesses a remarkable ability. It can reflect upon itself. It can ask questions. It can wonder. Some of the atoms inside your body were forged long ago within ancient stars. Those stars lived, transformed matter, and eventually scattered their contents into space. Over immense stretches of time, some of that material became planets, some became oceans, some became living organisms. Eventually, after a journey spanning billions of years, a tiny fraction of that star-born matter became capable of awareness, capable of curiosity, capable of looking up at the night sky and asking where it came from. There is something quietly astonishing about that thought. The universe produced stars. Stars produced elements. Those elements became life. Life became conscious. And consciousness began asking questions about the universe that gave rise to it. Perhaps that is why the mystery of consciousness feels so profound. It is not merely another scientific problem waiting to be solved. It may be one of the most extraordinary developments in the entire known cosmos. For through conscious minds, the universe has acquired something entirely new: the ability to observe, the ability to remember, the ability to imagine, and perhaps most remarkably of all, the ability to wonder. Yet if our experience is only a translation of reality rather than reality itself, a new possibility begins to emerge. There may be vast regions of existence lying beyond the limits of human perception, waiting silently beyond the edge of what we can currently see, hear, or understand. If consciousness is a window through which we experience reality, an interesting question naturally follows. How large is that window? When you look out across a landscape, the view feels complete. You see the trees, the sky, the horizon, and perhaps a few distant clouds drifting slowly through the afternoon light. Yet what you see is only a tiny portion of the world surrounding you. Beyond the horizon are places hidden from view. Beyond the walls around you are rooms you cannot currently see. Beyond the reach of your senses are countless events unfolding at this very moment. In many ways, human perception works the same way. Our experience feels complete because it is all we have ever known. But science has repeatedly revealed that reality extends far beyond what our senses can directly detect. Consider hearing. A dog can hear sounds that are completely inaccessible to human ears. Certain insects communicate through vibrations we never notice. Whales exchange calls across vast stretches of ocean in frequencies that humans would struggle to perceive naturally. Or think about vision. Many creatures experience a world that looks dramatically different from our own. Some birds can detect patterns invisible to human eyes. Bees can perceive portions of light that help them find flowers with remarkable precision. To a bee, a garden may appear far more detailed and vibrant than it does to us. The same physical world exists around both species, yet each experiences a different version of it. This realization invites a humbling possibility. Perhaps human perception is not a complete picture of reality. Perhaps it is simply the version of reality that proved useful for survival. Imagine carrying a map while walking through a forest. The map helps you navigate. It shows important paths and landmarks. But the map is not the forest itself. It does not contain every leaf, every insect, every stone, or every breeze moving through the trees. Likewise, our perceptions may function more like a useful map than a complete representation of existence. This idea becomes even more fascinating when we consider dimensions. At first glance, dimensions sound highly technical, but the basic idea can be explored through a simple thought experiment. Imagine a world inhabited by flat creatures living on a perfectly flat sheet of paper. They can move forward and backward, left and right, but they have no concept of height. To them, height does not exist. Now imagine placing your finger through their paper world. The flat creatures would observe something very strange. They might see a small circle appear from nowhere. The circle would grow larger, then smaller, then disappear again. From their perspective, the event would seem mysterious. Yet, from your perspective, the explanation would be simple. They cannot perceive the direction in which your finger is moving. A dimension exists beyond their awareness. This thought experiment became famous through a story called Flatland, and it continues to offer a useful way of thinking about reality. What if human beings are like those flat creatures? What if there are aspects of existence that lie beyond our ordinary perception? Modern physics has occasionally explored possibilities like these. Some theoretical models suggest that reality may contain additional dimensions beyond those we directly experience. Scientists do not yet know whether such ideas accurately describe nature. But the possibility itself reminds us that intuition is not always a reliable guide. Again and again, science has shown that reality is stranger than it first appears. The Earth feels motionless, yet it is constantly moving through space. Time feels universal, yet it can flow differently under certain conditions. Matter appears solid, yet much of it consists of vast regions of emptiness structured by invisible forces. The deeper we look, the more surprising the universe becomes. This theme appears once again when we consider one of modern science's greatest mysteries. Most of the universe appears to be invisible, not merely difficult to see, invisible in a much deeper sense. Astronomers have observed that galaxies behave as though they contain far more matter than we can directly detect. Something unseen appears to exert gravitational influence throughout the cosmos. Scientists call this mysterious component dark matter. The name sounds dramatic, but it is really a label for something not yet understood. Likewise, observations suggest that the expansion of the universe is accelerating. Something appears to be driving this process. Scientists call this dark energy. Yet despite decades of research, the true nature of both remains uncertain. What makes this remarkable is not simply that mysteries exist. It is the scale of those mysteries. The stars you see in the night sky, the planets, the oceans, the mountains, every person who has ever lived. All of these appear to belong to the relatively small portion of the cosmos we currently understand. The larger picture remains incomplete. There is a quiet lesson hidden within that realization. The universe is not obligated to fit comfortably within the limits of human intuition. For most of history, people assumed reality would resemble common sense. Yet common sense evolved to help our ancestors survive on a particular planet. It was never designed to explain black holes, quantum phenomena, or the structure of the cosmos. Reality may be under no obligation to feel familiar. And perhaps nowhere is this more apparent than in a question that continues to puzzle scientists and philosophers alike. What role does observation itself play in reality? In everyday life, observation feels passive. You look at a tree, The tree remains unchanged. You observe the moon. The moon continues its journey. Yet when scientists began exploring the smallest scales of nature, they discovered situations where observation and measurement became surprisingly complicated. Without diving into technical details, modern physics suggests that the act of observing may be more subtle than people once imagined. This does not mean consciousness magically creates reality, but it does remind us that the relationship between observer and observed may be deeper than it first appears. And that realization brings us back to where we began. A conscious mind gazing outward, a vast universe stretching beyond perception, and between them, a bridge built from questions. Questions about hidden dimensions, questions about unseen structures, questions about realities that may exist beyond the edge of what human beings can currently comprehend. Yet despite all these mysteries, humanity continues searching for something remarkably ambitious. A single framework capable of bringing everything together. A way of understanding reality not as separate pieces, but as one coherent whole. Throughout history, human beings have displayed a remarkable habit. Whenever they encounter complexity, they begin searching for patterns. When they encounter patterns, they begin searching for principles. And when they discover principles, they naturally wonder whether an even deeper principle might unite them all. This desire appears almost everywhere. A child learns that countless words can be built from a relatively small alphabet. A musician discovers that endless melodies can emerge from a limited collection of notes. A cook learns that many different meals can arise from a surprisingly small set of ingredients. Again and again, complexity seems to emerge from simplicity. Perhaps this is one reason humanity has long been captivated by a profound dream. The dream that beneath all the apparent complexity of the universe lies a single elegant framework connecting everything together. Scientists sometimes refer to this ambition as the search for a theory of everything. The phrase sounds grand, almost mythical, yet the underlying idea is surprisingly simple. Could there be a deeper set of principles from which every phenomenon in nature ultimately emerges? Could the movement of galaxies, the behavior of atoms, the birth of stars, and even the existence of life all arise from a common foundation? The search has deep historical roots. For much of human history, nature appeared chaotic. Lightning flashed unexpectedly across the sky. Planets wandered among the stars. Objects fell toward the earth. Seasons changed. Many of these phenomena seemed unrelated. Then, over time, a remarkable realization emerged. The same force that causes an apple to fall also influences the motion of the moon. What appeared to be separate events were connected. Isaac Newton helped reveal this connection. His work showed that a single set of principles could explain an enormous range of observations. For many people, it was a breathtaking moment. Nature suddenly appeared more unified than anyone had imagined. The universe seemed to possess an underlying order, yet history rarely stops at a single revelation. Centuries later, Albert Einstein transformed humanity's understanding once again. Space and time, previously treated as separate entities, became part of a larger structure. Gravity itself appeared in a new light. Reality became both more elegant and more mysterious. Once again, seemingly separate ideas merged into a deeper picture. Scientists began wondering whether even greater unification might be possible. Perhaps there was another layer beneath the layers already discovered. Then came the strange world of quantum physics, and the story became considerably more complicated. At the smallest scales, reality behaved in ways that challenged ordinary intuition. The neat certainty of earlier models gave way to probabilities and possibilities. The universe no longer resembled a perfectly predictable machine. Instead, it appeared richer, stranger, and more subtle. Yet despite these challenges, the dream of unification remained alive. In fact, the challenges themselves often strengthened the desire. When pieces of a puzzle do not fit together perfectly, the search for a larger solution becomes even more compelling. Imagine walking through a library filled with thousands of books. At first glance, the collection may seem overwhelming, but gradually patterns begin to emerge. Books belong to genres. Genres belong to broader categories. Themes repeat across different stories. Eventually, you begin wondering whether an even deeper structure connects the entire collection. Scientists often experience something similar when studying nature. They see countless phenomena, countless forces, countless interactions. Yet beneath that diversity, hints of unity continue to appear. What makes this pursuit especially fascinating is that it is driven by more than practicality. A theory of everything would certainly be scientifically useful. But the search is also motivated by something emotional and philosophical. Human beings seem drawn to elegance. We admire simplicity hidden within complexity. We find beauty in patterns that bring order to apparent chaos. A snowflake, a spiral shell, a star-filled sky. A piece of music whose many notes form a single, harmonious composition. The search for a unified understanding of reality often carries a similar aesthetic appeal. Scientists frequently speak about beauty in mathematics and physics, not because beauty proves something is true, but because nature sometimes displays a surprising elegance. Again and again, the universe reveals structures that appear simpler and more interconnected than expected. This raises an intriguing possibility. Perhaps the search for a theory of everything is not merely a scientific project. Perhaps it is also a reflection of something deeply human, a desire to belong within a larger story. After all, when people ask how the universe works, they are often asking another question as well. Where do we fit within it? What is our relationship to the vast cosmos surrounding us? Why does reality possess the structure that it does? The search for ultimate understanding is therefore about more than equations or scientific models. It is about orientation. It is about finding our place. Imagine standing beneath a clear night sky far from city lights. Thousands of stars stretch across the darkness. The scene is beautiful, yet it can also evoke a sense of longing, a desire to understand, a desire to connect, a desire to know whether all those distant lights belong to a larger pattern. In many ways, the search for a theory of everything emerges from that same feeling. The feeling that beneath the immense complexity of existence, there may be a hidden unity waiting to be discovered. Yet even if such a theory were found tomorrow, an important question would remain. Would it answer everything? Or would it simply open the door to even deeper mysteries? Suppose humanity discovered a framework capable of describing every known force and every known particle. Suppose it explained the structure of space, time, matter, and energy with extraordinary precision. Would that tell us why anything exists at all? Would it explain consciousness? Would it explain beauty, meaning, love, or wonder? Perhaps not, for some questions seem to persist no matter how much knowledge expands. Like distant mountains retreating as we approach them, they remain visible on the horizon. And this raises a possibility both humbling and profound. There may be limits not only to what we currently know, but to what any mind can ever know. For thousands of years, humanity has pursued knowledge with extraordinary determination. We have crossed oceans to map unknown lands, built telescopes to study distant galaxies, created microscopes to explore hidden worlds too small to see. Again and again, barriers that once seemed permanent have yielded to curiosity and persistence. Because of this history, it is natural to imagine that every mystery will eventually be solved. Given enough time, enough intelligence, and enough effort, perhaps every question will one day receive an answer. It is an inspiring vision. And yet, as our understanding has grown, another possibility has quietly emerged. Some questions may never completely disappear, not because we have failed, not because we lack intelligence, but because reality itself may place limits on what can be known. To appreciate this possibility, imagine standing on a shoreline and looking out across the ocean. The horizon appears as a distant boundary where sea and sky meet. You can travel toward it for hours, perhaps even for days. Yet no matter how far you move, the horizon continues to retreat. It remains visible but unreachable. Certain mysteries may resemble that horizon, not obstacles blocking progress, but boundaries that shift as understanding expands. One example comes from the universe itself. When astronomers observe the night sky, they are not merely looking across space. They are also looking into the past. Light requires time to travel. The light arriving from distant galaxies began its journey long before human civilization existed. Some of it departed before Earth itself had taken its current form. The farther we look, the deeper into cosmic history we see. Yet there is a limit. Beyond a certain distance, regions of the universe become inaccessible to observation. Not because our telescopes are inadequate, not because technology has failed, but because the structure of the cosmos itself prevents information from reaching us. There may be parts of reality that remain permanently beyond our view, entire regions of existence that we can never directly observe. This idea is both unsettling and beautiful. It reminds us that knowledge unfolds within boundaries. Even in a universe as vast as ours, there may be horizons that cannot be crossed. A similar insight emerged from mathematics during the 20th century. Without entering technical territory, a mathematician named Kurt Gödel demonstrated something remarkable. He showed that within certain logical systems, there will always be truths that cannot be fully proven using the rules of that system alone. The details are complex, but the broader lesson is surprisingly accessible. A system may be powerful and consistent while still possessing limits. No matter how complete it appears, there may always be statements that lie just beyond its reach. Many thinkers have seen a philosophical parallel here. Perhaps human understanding functions in a similar way. Perhaps there are aspects of reality that remain forever beyond complete explanation. If so, this would not make knowledge meaningless. A map remains useful, even if it does not include every grain of sand on a beach. A novel remains beautiful, even if a few mysteries remain unresolved. Complete understanding is not the only measure of value. In fact, some of life's most meaningful experiences contain elements that resist full explanation. Consider love. Science can study hormones, neural activity, and behavior. It can reveal fascinating details about relationships and attachment. Yet no scientific description fully captures what it feels like to care deeply for another person. The experience itself retains a richness that exceeds measurement. The same can be said for grief, or beauty, or awe. You can analyze them, describe them, study them. Yet something always remains, a quality that is lived rather than calculated. Perhaps this is why certain questions continue to accompany humanity across generations. What is consciousness? Why does anything exist at all? Why do the laws of nature have the form they do? What, if anything, lies beyond the universe we observe? Each answer generates another question, like opening one door only to discover a corridor filled with many more. The philosopher may ask what caused the universe, then ask what caused the cause, then what caused that cause. The chain can continue indefinitely. In this sense, some questions do not disappear when answered. They change shape. They move deeper. Imagine peeling layers from an onion. Each layer removed reveals another beneath it. Reality sometimes appears similar. The deeper we look, the more depth we discover. And perhaps this is not a flaw. Perhaps it is one of the most extraordinary features of existence. A universe completely devoid of mystery would be a very different place. There would be no exploration, no discovery, no wonder. Everything would be settled. Everything would be known. Yet the world we inhabit feels different. It continues to surprise us, continues to challenge us, continues to invite us into deeper levels of understanding. There is a quiet humility in recognizing this. For much of history, people imagine knowledge as a ladder leading towards certainty. Today, many thinkers view it differently. Knowledge may be less like climbing a ladder and more like exploring a landscape. There is always another hill beyond the hill, another valley beyond the valley, another horizon beyond the horizon. You never reach a final edge where all questions end. Instead, the journey itself becomes the source of meaning. This perspective changes the way we relate to uncertainty. Uncertainty no longer appears as an enemy to defeat. It becomes a companion, a reminder that reality remains larger than our current understanding, a reminder that wonder is still possible, and perhaps most importantly, a reminder that wisdom is not measured solely by the answers we possess. Sometimes wisdom is measured by the questions we continue asking, by the willingness to remain curious, by the courage to live alongside mysteries that may never be fully resolved. For if certainty remains forever incomplete, another question naturally emerges. How should we live within that uncertainty? How can human beings build meaningful lives while surrounded by unanswered questions? After traveling through questions of knowledge, consciousness, reality, and the limits of understanding, we arrive at something much closer to everyday life. How should a person actually live? It is one thing to discuss uncertainty in philosophy. It is another to encounter it in ordinary experience. The uncertainty of a difficult decision, the uncertainty of a changing relationship, the uncertainty of growing older, the uncertainty that sometimes appears in the quiet hours of the night when the future feels impossible to predict. Most of us instinctively search for certainty during such moments. We want clear answers, clear directions, a reliable map showing exactly where each road will lead. Yet life rarely provides that kind of precision. Instead, we often find ourselves navigating through incomplete information. And that raises an important question. What guides us when certainty is unavailable? For many centuries, philosophers and scientists celebrated reason as one of humanity's greatest gifts, and rightly so. Reason allows us to recognize patterns, solve problems, build civilizations, and understand the natural world. Without reason, much of modern knowledge would not exist. Reason helped humanity decode the motion of planets, develop medicine, construct bridges, explore space. Its achievements are extraordinary, yet reason alone has never been the whole story. Imagine someone trying to understand a symphony by studying only the physics of sound waves. The analysis might be accurate, the frequencies could be measured, the vibrations carefully described. Yet something important would still be missing. The experience of the music itself, the feeling it creates, the emotions it awakens. Life often resembles that symphony. Certain aspects can be measured and analyzed. Others can only be lived. This is where emotion enters the picture. For a long time, people tended to view emotion and reason as opposites. Reason was seen as clear and reliable. Emotion was often portrayed as messy and unpredictable. Modern research paints a more interesting picture. Emotion is not simply a disruption of rational thought. In many situations, it plays an essential role in decision-making itself. Imagine trying to choose between two paths in life. Perhaps one offers financial security, the other offers personal fulfillment. Pure logic may help evaluate the facts, but facts alone rarely determine the choice. Values matter, meaning matters, feelings matter. The decision emerges from an interaction between thought and emotion rather than from either one alone. In this sense, emotion functions less like an obstacle and more like a compass. Not a perfect compass, not an infallible one, but a guide helping us navigate dimensions of life that cannot be reduced to numbers. Consider some of the experiences people value most deeply: friendship, love, compassion, beauty, gratitude. None of these fit neatly into a scientific equation. Yet few would argue that they are unimportant. Imagine sitting with an old friend after many years apart. You share memories, stories, laughter, perhaps a few moments of silence. No instrument can fully measure the significance of that experience, yet its meaning may be immediately obvious to those involved. Or imagine listening to a piece of music that unexpectedly reminds you of another time in your life. A memory returns, a feeling resurfaces. For a few moments, past and present seem to overlap. The experience cannot be reduced to information alone. It becomes something richer, something felt. Perhaps this is why many of humanity's greatest works of art, literature, and philosophy do not provide definitive answers. Instead, they invite reflection. They create space for emotional understanding. They allow questions to remain open. There is wisdom in this, because some of life's most important decisions occur under conditions of uncertainty. No one can know with complete certainty how a relationship will unfold. No one can predict every consequence of a major choice. No one can fully control the future. At some point, action becomes necessary despite incomplete knowledge. Courage emerges not when uncertainty disappears. Courage emerges when we move forward while uncertainty remains. Think about a sailor crossing the ocean centuries ago. The horizon concealed unknown dangers. Storms could appear unexpectedly, maps were often incomplete, and yet voyages continued, not because certainty existed, but because curiosity, hope, and determination were strong enough to coexist with uncertainty. Human life often follows a similar pattern. We make decisions without possessing all the information. We form relationships without guarantees. We pursue goals without knowing exactly where they will lead. In doing so, we participate in one of the most fundamental aspects of existence: the willingness to move forward despite uncertainty. This perspective transforms the meaning of wisdom. Many people imagine wisdom as the accumulation of answers. A wise person knows everything, understands everything, possesses certainty where others do not. Yet experience often suggests something different. The wisest individuals frequently display humility. They recognize complexity. They acknowledge ambiguity. they remain open to revision. And perhaps most importantly, they learn to live comfortably alongside unanswered questions. Like an experienced traveler navigating unfamiliar terrain, they understand that uncertainty is not always a sign of failure. Sometimes it is simply the natural condition of exploration. This does not mean abandoning reason, nor does it mean surrendering entirely to emotion. Wisdom may lie in allowing both to work together. Reason helps illuminate the path. Emotion helps reveal why the journey matters. One shows us what is. The other helps us understand what is meaningful. And somewhere between them, a deeper form of understanding begins to emerge. Not perfect certainty, not complete knowledge, but something quieter. A way of living that embraces curiosity without demanding absolute answers. A way of finding purpose even when mysteries remain. Because after everything we have explored, perhaps the most important question is not whether the universe can be fully understood. Perhaps the more important question is whether meaning requires complete understanding in the first place. As our journey gradually draws toward its resting place, it is worth returning to a simple image. A human being standing beneath the night sky. Thousands of years ago, our ancestors stood beneath those same stars. They did not possess modern telescopes. They knew nothing of galaxies, black holes, quantum physics, or dark matter. Yet they felt something familiar: wonder, curiosity, a quiet awareness that they were surrounded by mysteries larger than themselves. In many ways, that feeling has never disappeared. Human knowledge has expanded dramatically. We have learned that Earth is not the center of the cosmos. We have discovered that stars are distant suns scattered across immense stretches of space. We have uncovered clues about the age of the universe and the origins of matter. We have explored the workings of cells, brains, and galaxies. Yet despite all these achievements, many of the deepest questions remain. What is consciousness? Why does anything exist at all? What lies beyond the limits of observation? Is reality larger than we can perceive? Will there always be mysteries waiting beyond the horizon of knowledge? These questions have accompanied us throughout this journey, and perhaps one of the most surprising discoveries is that they do not necessarily diminish the meaning of life. In fact, they may deepen it. There is a common assumption that meaning depends upon certainty. That if only we could discover the final answers, everything would make sense. Every doubt would disappear. Every mystery would be resolved. Every question would find its conclusion. But life rarely unfolds in such a neat and orderly way. Imagine reading a beloved novel. The experience is meaningful, not because you know every detail before turning the first page. It is meaningful because the story gradually reveals itself. The unknown becomes part of the experience. Curiosity keeps you engaged. Possibility keeps the journey alive. In a similar way, human existence unfolds through exploration rather than complete certainty. We do not begin life with all the answers. We learn, we question, we grow, we make mistakes, we revise our understanding. And through that process, we gradually build a relationship with reality. Perhaps meaning emerges not from possessing truth completely, but from participating in its pursuit. This idea appears again and again throughout human history. The great explorers did not sail because they knew exactly what they would find. Scientists do not conduct research because every outcome is already known. Artists do not create because every possibility has been exhausted. The search itself becomes valuable. The journey itself becomes meaningful. And perhaps this is especially true when we consider our place in the universe. Earlier, we explored a remarkable chain of events. Ancient stars forged the elements that would eventually become planets. Those planets provided environments where life could emerge. Life evolved over immense spans of time. Eventually, conscious beings appeared. Beings capable of reflection, beings capable of memory, beings capable of asking questions about their own existence. Pause for a moment and consider how extraordinary that really is. The atoms in your body were not always part of you. Long before they became part of a human life, they existed elsewhere. Some traveled through ancient stars. Some drifted through space. Some became part of oceans, mountains, forests, and countless living things. Now, for a brief moment in cosmic history, they have assembled into a conscious mind capable of wondering about the universe. There is something profoundly beautiful in that thought. The universe produced creatures capable of contemplating the universe, not merely existing within it, but reflecting upon it, questioning it, finding meaning within it. This perspective can also change how we think about uncertainty. Throughout this journey, uncertainty has often appeared as a challenge. Black Swan events reminded us that the future remains unpredictable. The limits of knowledge revealed how much remains unknown. Consciousness exposed mysteries within our own minds. Modern physics suggested that reality may be stranger than intuition expects. The search for a theory of everything revealed humanity's desire for unity and understanding. And the limits of explanation reminded us that some questions may never fully disappear. Yet perhaps uncertainty has another side. Without uncertainty, there would be no discovery. Without uncertainty, curiosity would lose its purpose. Without uncertainty, wonder might fade. A world in which every answer was known from the beginning would be a very different world indeed. The unknown gives depth to existence. It creates room for exploration, room for imagination, room for growth, and perhaps room for meaning. Meaning itself may not be a hidden object waiting to be discovered somewhere beyond the stars. It may emerge through relationships, through experiences, through acts of kindness, through learning, through creating, through sharing a brief moment of understanding with another conscious being, a conversation, a friendship, a memory, a quiet evening spent looking at the sky. These experiences do not require complete certainty to matter. They matter because they are lived, because they are felt, because they connect us to something larger than ourselves. And so, after traveling through uncertainty, knowledge, consciousness, hidden realities, cosmic mysteries, and unanswered questions, we arrive at a surprisingly gentle conclusion. Perhaps the goal was never complete certainty. Perhaps the goal was never to possess every answer. Perhaps wisdom is not the end of questioning. Perhaps wisdom is learning how to live beautifully among questions that remain open. As night settles around the world and the stars continue their silent journey across the darkness, countless mysteries remain. Some may be solved, others may not. New discoveries will appear. New questions will emerge. The horizon will continue to expand. And somewhere within that vast unfolding story, conscious minds will continue looking upward and inward, wondering what it all means. Perhaps the greatest miracle is not that the universe contains mysteries. Perhaps it is that somewhere within that universe, there are beings capable of noticing them, beings capable of curiosity, beings capable of awe, beings capable of meaning. And tonight, as you rest beneath the same ancient cosmos that inspired generations before you, you are part of that story. A brief yet extraordinary expression of a universe learning, questioning, and reflecting upon itself. May that thought accompany you gently into the quiet hours ahead. And as the questions soften and the stars continue their patient journey overhead, may you find comfort not in having every answer, but but in knowing that wonder itself is enough. Good night.